Hello everybody, and today I'm going to be reacting to one of the masters of comedy, Rowan Atkinson. Coming up. Hello and welcome, my name is Barnaby and I'm the founder of Clown Spirit, where we take the power of clown and we use it to bring lightness, joy and connection to your life and the lives of everybody around you. Now today I'm going to be looking at a classic piece of live performance from Rowan Atkinson. We all know, of course, Rowan Atkinson as Mr. Bean. He is globally famous, but people may not be so aware of some of this earlier work, live work that he did with Angus Deaton. And this is wonderful, beautiful work. This particular sketch I haven't seen before, so it's the first time I've seen this and I'm going to react to it spontaneous and live in the moment. So let's take a look.
Well now, Mr. Perkins, it was good of you to come in. I realize that you're a busy man, but I didn't think this matter could be discussed over the electric telephone.
No, absolutely, Headmaster. I mean, if Tommy's in some sort of trouble, then I'd like to nip it in the bud.
Well, quite frankly, Tommy is in trouble. Recently, his behavior has left a great deal to be desired.
Dear.
He seems to take no interest in school life whatsoever. He refuses to muck in on the sports field. And it's weeks since any master has received any written work from him.
Dear me.
Quite frankly, Mr. Perkins, if he wasn't dead, I'd have him expelled.
Beg your pardon?
Yes, expelled.
So it's just beautiful, masterful, right? I mean, for a start, there's this kind of very understated, very beautifully played Scottish headmaster character. And he doesn't overplay it, right? He doesn't kind of give us a sort of caricature or stereotype. You know, it's just a soft Scottish accent and a kind of everyday, ordinary kind of behavior, nothing over the top. And so we're not ready for this bombshell, right? This kind of moment of delivering this news that the guy's son is actually dead, and we're still not sure whether to believe it. It just seems like it's too surreal, right? Like it's a kind of joke. And he's done this beautiful kind of slipping of logic, kind of incongruity thing where we hear that the boy hasn't been producing work, hasn't been out in the sports field, and we should think he's just in trouble. And then he slips in this phrase, if he wasn't dead, he'd be expelled. So we're sort of put in the role of the father listening to this, right, and trying to figure it out. And so the incongruity of it, the unexpected quality of it is what's really, really so beautiful in this.
If I wasn't making allowances for the fact that your son is dead, he'd be out on his ear.
Tommy's dead?
Yes, he's lying up there in sick bay now, stiff as a board and bright green. And this is, I fear, typical of his current attitude. You see, the boy has no sense of moderation. One moment he's flying around like a paper kite, and the next moment he's completely immovable. And beginning to smell.
How did he die?
Well, is that important?
Yes, I think so.
Well, it's all got to do with the library. You see, we've had a lot of trouble recently with boys taking out library books without library cards. Your son was caught, and I administered a beating during which he died. But you'll be glad to know...
So it's lovely. It's so constructed so brilliantly, right? There's this kind of one level of surprise shock that he's dead, and then we sort of start to get this detail about why he's dead, and the headmaster admitting that it was because he administered a beating himself. And so it just takes it up a whole notch further, right, in terms of the absurdity of the situation. And we see Angus Deaton here playing the father of the boy. And it's so important. It's a great role as well. And he's doing a very good job of playing the straight man to Rowan Atkinson's kind of over-the-top comical character here.
You'll be glad to know that the ringleader was caught, so I don't think we'll be having any more trouble with library discipline. You see, the library card system...
I'm sorry. You beat my son to death?
Yes, so it would seem. Please, I'm not used to being interrupted. You see, the library card system was introduced...
Well, exactly what happened?
Well, apparently boys were just slipping into the library and taking the books.
No, during the beating.
Oh, that? Well, one moment he was bending over, the next moment he was lying down. I mean, deadish. Mr. Perkins, I find this morbid fascination of yours with your son's death quite disturbing. What I'm talking about is his attitude. And quite frankly, I can see where he gets it from.
Well, it wasn't me that beat him to death.
Well, that was perfectly obvious to me from the first day he arrived here. I wondered then, as I wonder now, if he might not have turned out to be a very different boy indeed if you had administered a few fatal beatings early on.
Are you mad?
I'm furious. In order to accommodate the funeral, I've had to cancel afternoon school on Wednesday.
This is preposterous.
Yes, it is.
So you can see the influence of Monty Python here, right? There's this kind of extremity, like the Dead Parrot and other kinds of Monty Python sketch where they play with these absurdly ridiculous, extreme scenarios where one person seems to be kind of in the real world and reacting like a normal person. And then we have that as the kind of neutral, right? The audience represented and reflected on stage. And then these characters who sort of exist in a whole other reality, but act completely normally, right? He's acting in a normal way, but the things that he says, the value systems are so extreme that we can't even take them seriously. And even though he's dealing with a kind of topic that's potentially sensitive and upsetting because of the extremity, because it's so far removed from sanity and reality, it's funny. So the comedy here comes from that complete embracing of absurdity and extremity.
Or at least it would be if it were true.
What?
I've been joking, Mr. Perkins. Pardon me, it's my strange academic sense of humor. I've been pulling your leg.
Thank God.
I wouldn't cancel afternoon school to bury that little shit.
So again, a very nice sort of turning the tables on our expectation and what's been set up, just to kind of bookmark the end of the sketch, right? So he says that he was joking all the time, and we get this, the character really is relieved, and we're sort of relieved, like, oh, it's just a joke. And then it turns out the joke was, he is dead, and the joke was just that he wouldn't cancel school. So you can see the way it's a very simple structure, but it also plays very beautifully and cleanly with this setup of expectation, the playing with the rules of logic, of what we expect, what's acceptable, and this kind of playing with the complete absurdity and extremity of a situation and what's kind of normal and acceptable in society. And just so beautifully played by these two. It's kind of a great lesson in simple character-based comedy. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed Rowan Atkinson here in one of his kind of trademark live performances of the Headmaster Kills Student. If you have any comedy routines that you'd like me to react to, clowning or songs, singers, musicians, anything, just put it in the comments and I will get to it if I can. So thanks for the recommendations. Keep them coming. Hope you enjoyed today's reaction and keep clowning.